Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. I'm starting a little bit early to make sure that the software and the volume and everything's working correctly. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. I'm starting a little bit early. If folks can let me know if you're seeing this, I believe Jackie is, and hopefully our volume is working. And I am live on Facebook as well today. We'll see how well this works. It may drop too many frames. My internet might not be able to handle it. But if it does, that'll be great. If not, um, we'll end up dropping Facebook and just go live on YouTube as usual. Oh, great. Thank you, Jackie, for checking that audio and video for me. We'll get started right at 9 a.m. with our intro reel. Making sure everything is going well. We do have one viewer on Facebook, which is great. I have no idea who that is because they haven't left a comment, and which is okay. I just want to make sure that Facebook is working as well. Oh, I got a comment here. Slightly choppy video, but audio is perfect. Okay. Uh, I am sorry about the choppy video. If it becomes too much, let me know, folks. If it's just way too choppy and hard to follow along, and I will, um, you know, probably end up dropping Facebook. Um, but I finally got back into Facebook this week, which is really great. Good morning, and I am Reverend Robert Ugin Doshin Yamada here, and welcome to the Animal Liberation Temple, where we are at the service of the spiritual and physical liberation of our dear animal friends. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the ancestral and seeds land of the Yokuts, Karkin, Confederate villages of the Lisha, Ohlone, Miwok, and Miwokma people. We recognize them, the legacy of violence, settlement, and displacement of these people who suffered and survived. Good morning, Beck. So good to see you here as well. Joining our live stream, I really appreciate that. Temple updates. We had really nice weather this week. A little warm, but not too hot, so that's really good. One of the updates I wanted to give was my dear pigeon friend Harriet passed away yesterday. And so today's services are dedicated to her. She was an older pigeon, lived a beautiful life here at the temple. But yesterday she passed away. We'll be having her services later on today, and she'll receive ordination as a holy nun in the Animal Liberation Temple, as well as a resting place here at the temple. In other news, we are still fundraising for to keep our truck. That didn't go as well this week, but we're gonna, kind of continue to push that on. And really hope that we can raise enough money to keep our truck. One of the things that has been hindering us is that food costs have really skyrocketed here. And so we are just needing to make sure everybody eats first. That's always going to be a priority. We are covering that because of all the wonderful donations that we are receiving. But that is kind of hindering us from paying off the rest of our truck. Other updates. All of our residents are doing really well. We have our duck friends, Breve, Grave, Amanda, and Renee. Our Peking ducks all doing really well. Our dogs, Lucy and Bernard, are doing well. Lucy's right outside the temple, enjoying the sunshine this morning. Bernard was in the house when I last saw him, enjoying the early morning. They were out running around this morning. Our goats down the hill, Rob, Matt, and Phil, are all doing really well. Our tortoise friend Miyachi is, up and about and eating a lot every single day. That's also cutting into our food costs, as Miyachi has to eat fresh produce every single day. In the winter, he almost doesn't eat anything at all, just very, very little. But as it warms up, he's eating quite a bit. And so that, of course, increases the cost of food, especially since food costs everywhere are just up for everyone. Our turkey friends, Priya and Harriet, are doing really well. Enjoyed their breakfast this morning. Then we have all of our Cornish chickens. There's Jax, Jimmy, Edward, Poppy, Aster, Ivy, Azalea, Peony, Cynthia, Lotus, Magnolia, Sage, Marigold, Camilla, Hydrangea, Holly, and Zinnia, all doing really well. And then we have our other hens also doing really well. There's Glennis, Gwen, Alice, doing really well. And then we have two new hens that just came into this week, Rebel and Mariah, both doing really well. They're in the medical building doing their quarantine period. Maybe today we'll visit them a little bit, see how they're doing. We have our rooster friends, Sabrina May, Hard One, Elton, Magnus, George, Brad, and Kuru, also doing really well. Then we have our guinea fowl friend, Wendy, doing really well. Our mourning dove friend, Sequoia, doing well. Our rat friend inside the house, Hasu, doing really well. And then we have all of our pigeons. So there's FP, Champagne, Tulin, Sasha, Yo-Yo, Petey, Ricky, Spreckles, Spencer, Shambles, Beluga, Beth, Pee-wee, Cascade, Augustus, Rufus, Harper, Elliot, Snickers, Boba, Kismet, Farah, Angus, Pandora, Jones, Sin, Lago, Fred, Tramonto, Halo, Vin, Capone, Percy, Pacino, Lacey, Sasha II, Dora, and Endora. And then, of course, we have our 3 foster ducks, 2 Pekings, and a Indian runner, also doing really well this morning. Good morning, Tani. It's so good to see you. Thank you for tuning in live. I really appreciate that. Let us get started with our prayers, sutras, and vows to our dear animal friends. As I mentioned before, today's services are dedicated to my dear pigeon friend Harriet. These prayers are of great auspicious benefit for all who hear these prayers. We ask that you have your companion animals nearby or in a place where wild animal friends can hear these prayers intended for them, even our dear insect friends. We'll start on page 4 of the Animal Liberation Temple Prayer Book with the recitation of the Great Heart of Wisdom Sutra in Japanese. Maka hanya haramita shingyo Hanji zai bosatsu gyojin hanya haramita jiso kengo onkai kudo isai kuyaku sharishi shiki fuku kufui shiki shiki zokuze kuku shiki ju sogyo yakubu nyoze shari shize shohoku 信行願わくはこのどこもてあまねく一切に及ぼし我ら都市じゃ富な共に仏道 Animal Liberation の上善ことを自法三子佛子孙菩萨佛子孫菩薩摩訶薩摩訶補者ホロミ And we now recite the refuge prayer in Tibetan and in English, page 8 of the Animal Liberation Temple Prayer Book. Sangye chodan toki chonam la janju paduk tekni gyapsu chi taki jinsu kipe sonam ki drola benjer sangye chupar sho. The Buddha, Dharma, and excellent assembly of the Sangha, until I attain enlightenment, in these I take refuge. By my practice of the six perfections, may all sentient beings attain the state of Buddhahood. We now recite the four great Bodhisattva vows, Shigi Seigan. Shujo Muhen Seigando Bono Mujen Seigandan Omon Muryo Seigangak Butsudo Mujo Seiganjo. However numerous sentient beings, I vow to enlighten them all. However inexhaustible my delusions, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the dharmas, I vow to master them all. However endlessly enlightened the way, I vow to follow it fully. We now recite the 6 vows to our dear animal friends, page 10. However numerous my dear animal friends, I vow to liberate them all. However diverse the methods of animal liberation, I vow to support them all. However unheard their voices, I vow to speak out for them all. However painful and inexhaustible the methods of suffering, I vow to bear witness to them all. However infinite the cages and tanks, I vow to empty them all. However difficult animal liberation, I vow to achieve it completely. We now recite the Vajrasattva purification mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Anupalaya Vajrasattva Te Nopati Sitveto Me Bhava Sito Sho Me Bhava Sipo Sho Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Sita Me Prayata Sarva Karma Sita Me Titim Shri Yam Guru Hom Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sava Tathagata Vajra Mame Muta Vajri Bhava Mahasamamya Safaha. This week, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I see happen in the animal rights world that possibly can be concerning. But more I want to bring it up is just something to check in on yourself and just kind of like realize where you might stand personally. And this is no judgment of where you might land on this particular issue. I just want to challenge people to think about it. One of the main foundations of of the Animal Liberation Temple is that we really attempt to put our non-human animal friends first. All of these prayers and sutras and mantras, the services, the funeral services, the blessings, all of that is meant to center our non-human animal friends. The very existence of this temple was meant to center our non-human animal friends. And we did this because we saw a lack of spiritually centered institutions that center our non-human animal friends, and we felt that a place like that should exist. Since starting the Animal Liberation Temple, I have my inspiration came from other institutions that are doing this, although very few. There are some. And since we started this, others have also joined in centering non-human animals and of all different types of spiritual and religious backgrounds. Although there's still very few. If they, there might be a handful of religious groups that are doing this out of the thousands and millions upon other religious institutions that only center humans. So here we try to center our non-human animal friends. And I bring this up this week because often I see a lot of animal rights groups, and by a lot of times not even a fault of the actual organizing of the animal rights group, but sometimes just how people interpret certain types of actions tend to really center like the human rescuers or the humans that are, doing the protests rather than center the non-human animals that are, that we're actually fighting for. And I just feel like we should really look into ourselves and see who we are, possibly putting on a pedestal or maybe idolizing as a hero, and really look at ourselves and wonder, like, are we centering the human again, or are we really making sure that we tell the story of the non-human animals? I feel like most organizations in the animal rights community do a really good job of this. However, sometimes the reaction, we really want to, hold up these rescuers, hold up these protesters, hold up these, humans that are doing this great work. And I really appreciate their work, and I love them for the work that they do. However, I think that sometimes our messaging gets lost on centering human beings that are doing this work, and we're not recentering the non-human animals, because at the end of all of this, it's them who we're trying to liberate. It's them who we're trying to bring attention to, and if we center the human being, then our messaging gets lost on what happens to this human. Why did they take this action? Are they facing charges? Are they are they giving a good message? Oh, they have a really powerful voice. All these things are great, but we have to remind ourselves that that voice is powerful because our non-human animals have given us that skill, have given us that blessing. If anybody tunes into the Animal Liberation Temple to hear our services and appreciate any of the work I personally do, please understand that the only reason I'm able to do this work, the only reason I'm able to give any sort of powerful message to our non-human animal friends is because of the blessings that they have given to me. everything from, being inside a factory farm. It was my interactions with them personally, what they had given to me, even when I wasn't able to free them, even when I wasn't able to do anything about their suffering. They still gave, their love. They still gave me the the blessings to be able to speak up for them. Everything that I do is not because Robert Ugin Doshin Yamada is a great and wonderful person. It's because I received blessings from my dear chicken friends. I received blessings from my friend Lucy, and from my pigeon friend Harriet. Um, it's them who have inspired me to take action. And I think we need to constantly remind ourselves of you know we speak up for them, and that they are the ones that need to be centered in these stories, that we need to talk um, about what their experiences are, and really draw from that, and really make sure that we are telling the stories of non-human animals, and not just the stories of activists. With all that said, I do want to recognize and acknowledge that a lot of what these activists are doing are inspiring other activists to take actions, and this is a really important thing. But remember that this inspiration that we have is for the actions that they are taking on behalf of our non-human animal friends, and not necessarily the individual human activists that are doing that work. They're drawn um, themselves because of the blessings that they receive from um, their non-human animal friends, and their interactions with them. So again, I just want to remind folks, and try to check yourselves, and try to, you know, see, what perspective that you're using, and making sure that we are centering our non-human animal friends in every step. And on top of all of that said, I also want to recognize that um, a lot of folks who are doing really great work, and not don't always end up on Instagram feeds or Facebook feeds, or in the newspaper articles. A lot of the people that are doing really important work never get any credit whatsoever, and that's because they don't do it for credit. They do center the non-human animals friends, but they are often taken lesser public-facing roles. I'd like to acknowledge a lot of people who are doing those live streams, and when they're live streaming, they're getting the non-human animal friend in frame, and when they're live streaming, they're the ones behind the camera, not the ones in front of the camera, and they are doing some really important work. I want to acknowledge some of the people who are arranging forever homes for these non-human animal friends that we're adopting. Some of those folks who are continuing the lifelong care, the sanctuary workers, the sanctuary volunteers, the folks that I know folks personally who are spending every last dime to make sure that their animals friends are happy, who are dipping into their retirement funds to make sure that their animal friends are happy and safe and free. And often they don't get a post about them, or a reel about them, or any acknowledgement whatsoever. And I want to make sure that we are acknowledging some of the unsung heroes in our movement. But foremost, let us remind ourselves to acknowledge that it's our non-human animal friends that should be centered in all of these stories. I just want to read the comments here to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. Amongst local activists was very disheartening. Ego has no place in animal activism. Yeah, I think that we should, take work to acknowledge our ego, And I think when we acknowledge that maybe we have some ego involved in some of the work that we do, that we could try to diminish that ego a little bit and recenter our non-human animal friends. Ego is not necessarily a terrible thing, but can distract from the plight our non-human animal friends are exposed to. Yeah, Neil says it perfectly. Often we tend to put people, I think human people, on pedestals way too much, hero worshiping rather than focusing on the actions, on their actions and words. Absolutely, I think that I don't want to diminish what some of these brave activists are doing. But again, not necessarily, you know, the activists themselves, but their actual actions, what they're physically doing, what they are physically saying, and then realizing that those actions, those words come from a place where our non-human animal friends have bestowed upon us those blessings. Amazing. Sanctuary care is like Robert. Thank you, Beck. I think I was actually referring to the work that Beck does, taking care of our little mouse friends and kitty friends, and all the work that she volunteers, I think, on a regular basis at a wildlife animal care place in San Francisco. She's constantly working to against rodenticides, and often that work goes unacknowledged. Often that work is done, from often unpaid, even though she has a doctorate and should be being paid for this work. She often is just doing this work because she knows that at the end of it, it's not how much money she makes. It's whether or not those rats are getting the freedom and being able to live a poison-free life. I can't say enough how much work that I see Beck does. And again, I'm not trying to platform Beck, but I'm trying to platform the work that she does that is so important for our dear rodent friends, and her little kitty friends. She's so many cats, and she takes such good care of them. But again, like Neil says, let us promote people's work, people's actions, rather than the people themselves, and realize that that work, those actions, the beautiful words that they say, are only possible because of the blessings our non-human animal friends bestow upon us. I often get complimented on the prayers that we do every week. Our animal liberation prayer and dedication of merit, and honestly, these words that we recite each week are, the blessings that our non-human animal friends have bestowed upon this temple, and they come from them. I honestly feel that these prayers are written by them through me, and not something I, easily came up with on my own, but something that came up through the inspiration that I received from our non-human animal friends. Before I start on those prayers, let me just check our Facebook. Yeah, Pastor Rob talks about it takes a community to save animals. We do what is best suited for them. I absolutely agree, Pastor Rob. Um, Pastor Rob's another person, and another religious institution centers non-human animal friends. I'm greatly blessed to know his church, and it is definitely an inspiration that we got early on to start the Animal Liberation Temple. And again, I wholeheartedly believe Pastor Rob does his work, because of the inspiration that he had from our non-human animal friends. But let us recite the Animal Liberation Prayer and Dedication of Merit, and then we will do our sanctuary tour and our credits reel. I'll recite the Animal Liberation Prayer, periods 12, 13, and 14. May all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends who are subject to unbearable pain in labs throughout the world, be free of all suffering. May alternatives to animal experimentation, vivisection, and dissection be implemented immediately. May bodhicitta, the quality of compassion that leads to enlightenment, fill the hearts of those who imprison them. May all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends who suffer endless days, months, and years, locked in tiny cages unable to move, be filled with peace and calm. May all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends who are forcibly taken from their families, be reunited, and may all families be able to stay together. May the hearts of those who work in slaughterhouses, factory farms, and all industries that exploit our dear animal friends be filled with bodhicitta, so the very thought of harm is purified. May they never kill again, and may the slaughterhouse lines, factory farms, and all industries that exploit our dear animal friends become immediately empty. May no animal be afraid or depressed. May their bodies be free of injuries, disease, and illness. May the mutilation of their bodies be forever ceased. May those who need homes or have been driven from them find shelter, plentiful food, and water. May there be liberation for those tortured for fur, entertainment, or who are hunted. May those who believe that they are superior to our brother and sister animals develop perfect equanimity, and may they realize in their hearts that all sentient beings possess Buddha nature, the potential to be completely free of suffering, and that they are not ours to kill or exploit. May the billions of land and sea-dwelling sentient beings who are abused, exploited, and killed due to greed, hatred, and ignorance be free of suffering. May all the nets, hooks, blades, projectiles, traps, snares, cages, pens, tanks, lethal restraints, saddles, reins, prods, bait, poison, and all instruments used to harm, exploit, and dominate our dear animal friends be forever abolished. May all human and non-human sentient beings live together in harmony, peace, equanimity, and achieve perfect enlightenment quickly. May we all experience happiness, safety, freedom, and animal liberation in this very lifetime. We now recite the dedication of merit to our dear animal friends. Throughout our many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue we have accomplished, including this aspiration for peace, and all that we will ever attain, this we offer for the benefit of all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends. May suffering, exploitation, and unnecessary death be decreased for every being, while wisdom, bliss, and compassion increase in this and every future life. May we clearly and instantly perceive the plight of our dear animal friends with the urgency and seriousness they deserve, and our every action leads them to complete liberation. May we quickly attain enlightenment in order ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. We'll get started with my tour here. Let's just make sure everything is working. Looks like my second camera is working. Looks like, make sure the audio on it's working. Oh, we got a little turn came in to visit the temple for a second. Hope everybody was able to see that. There's so many wild birds out here today. Okay. Oh, we were going to go visit our new residence in the medical building. Hi, girls. It's Mariah. And her friend in front of her is Rebel. Hi, Rebel. He's an older chicken. She wants to come up and sit with us. Right into the camera. Good girl. Everybody almost ate all their food. I know. So they're in quarantine right now. They'll be in here for, at least another week, and then we'll bring them out, meet all the other ladies. I already cleaned this room once. We're gonna have to clean it again. Maybe like 3 times a day we have to clean this room because, yeah, that's chickens for you. You're very curious on these cameras, aren't you, there, Rebel? Very pretty. Alright, I'll be back, ladies. And I think in honor of Harriet, I want to visit with our pigeon friends this morning. Our Cornishes on our way. So many pigeon friends. There's 38 pigeons in here. This coop was designed to fit a little over 40 pigeons, but we only have 38 right now, which is, that's a good number to have. We don't want to get too many. People can see that's FP. You see Flame Princess, but he's the first pigeon we ever adopted. Doing wonderful with all his friends. He was a lone pigeon for almost a year before we adopted all these other pigeons. Hey everybody. So pretty. Wonderful to see them be able to fly around in this really big aviary. I don't know if people can get the true scope of how big this aviary is. They gave me the dimensions to be able to build a aviary for 40, and I believe I exceeded it by a good 8 square feet. I just wanted to make sure they had lots of room. Oh, there's Bernard. Hey, Bernard. You're a good boy. With your crazy hair. Good boy, Bernard. Folks would please stay for our credits. I really want to acknowledge all the people who continue to support our sanctuary. Thanks to you to all the wonderful folks who have contributed to our Dear Animal residents of the Animal Liberation Temple from the 15th through the 21st of March. Thank you to everyone who has been liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to our social media. Thank you to our Venmo donors, Tony Salazar and Vanessa Ka. That is not updated. The Venmo ones are correct, but not my PayPal donors. I'm going to quickly acknowledge those people because I think that's really important. Our PayPal donors, Pastor Robert Monroe, Palomina Bradford, Joshua Markson, and Colin Simmons. Thank you so much. And then our Patreon supporters, and again, this is not updated either, I'm very sorry. But Susan Fryman, Neil Carmen, Palomina Bradford, Paula Partenheimer, Shannon Hunter, and our new super supporter, MD. And I'll make sure that these credits get updated. They were updated this morning, but it somehow didn't take into the software. If you'd like to donate through any of our platforms, it can be found at our Linktree Animal Liberation Temple. We have like our PayPal and our Venmo and all the platforms that you can donate through, as well as our Patreon. Thank you folks all so much. Thank you for tuning in live, that really helps. Thank you if you're sharing and liking our posts, and please share our fundraisers as we try to continue to make sure that we can keep our truck. And thank you for joining our Sunday services for Dear Animal friends. Everybody have a beautiful week. Thank you.